Okay, guys, so this is just sharing my Otocinclus algae eater, eating the cube of freeze-dried bloodworms. So I've made videos, or I've made a video on how to do this before, how to feed your catfish, which for me can be tricky to get to feed on certain vegetables and whatnot. And I made a video showing you how to do, one way of feeding them, which is simply take a stick, take some elastic bands, or just one rubber band, and then attach the tube effects worms. These are freeze-dried bloodworms, and just secure it to a stick and plop it in your tank. And this is certainly one way to feed Otocinclus algae eaters. A lot of people have trouble with this. When you first get them, guys, they're usually starving. The way we catch them is terrible. Essentially, we let out poison in a stream. It poisons them, it shocks them, and they are rendered retarded. They then basically float downstream where we can catch them when they're in their incapacitated, stupefied, poisoned state. And and then when they're shipped, they don't get fed. They don't get much food. And so what a lot of people think is that they can just put them in and they will be fine eating just the algae. This apparently isn't the case, and they need to be, pretty quickly supplementally fed. There are different things you can use. A lot of people suggest algae wafers. These have never worked for us. One of the things that I have used is, you can see this, what you're looking at is a piece of plastic that I cut from a water bottle that we've been growing algae in. And we've been putting that in, and they find their way to that, and they've been eating that. That's one way. But another way is, again, using tube effects, which I will show you now. And I'll show that to you now. But this certainly works. This has worked for both tanks. And you can see from the poop string, they actually are eating, which is great, and they're not starving anymore. And the other thing I noticed, too, is they just appreciate a stick. They appreciate some wood. It must just be because it's a nice soft thing to latch onto, as opposed to just these big rocks. So if you do have Otocinclus algae eaters, put a stick in there for them, and they seem to feed on them too. So I think there's microscopic thingy things on the wood, and the wood's probably a bit of a growth medium too, for algae and things like that. And you can see the other two in the background there. So we've got 3 in this tank. So there's the proof. They are carnivorous, and they really like the tube effects. And he just got kind of hit by one of our Danios. So now I'll just show you exactly what it is. And since we're here, I'll show you this tank. See, we have another auto under there. Hello, my friend. And what I've done here also is, you can see it a lot better. This is the other part of the water bottle that I cut off that has the algae growing. You can see that there quite clearly. This guy still hasn't found his way to it, but he will, and I think it's a good sign. I think it means, he's pretty well fed. They're not starving. So, so this is what we use. Tube effects worms. Tube effects worms. This is what it looks like. And yeah, they love it. It's marketed. The instructions say to simply press a cube on the side of the tank for easy and exciting feeding. Lie detector determines that was a lie. It doesn't seem to stick. Maybe we just don't know how to press stuff against glass, but it hasn't been working for whatever reasons. So, so I've resorted to using a stick, and here is Freddy, and Freddy is our fighting fish. Look at him. Look at him. Big old Freddy. So, he's got a good life. He's quite happy. So, okay. So that's that, guys. Hope you're all well. Talk to you soon, my friends. Take care.